We're at the 30th anniversary of Pokemon, and they still haven't given us Tentacool. At this point, I'm starting to think they don't actually care. Hey there, kiddos, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank. Well, that you are having a great day, and in today's video, I'd like to sit back in my pretty squeaky chair, relax, and have a nice little conversation with all of you guys about relationships. No, not the kissy kind of relationships, business relationships. That's right. Today we're talking about the interpersonal social relationships that go on between you, the player of the game, and you, the collector of the game, and you, the store owner, buying and selling the game, assuming that you're one of those three categories. Because, yeah, when it comes to collectibles, card games, and finance, the relationship one has, both professionally and socially, is a pretty important thing. This is a multi-layered kind of discussion, and I think it's important to get the basics out of the way at first. Is, you know, card games, more or less, are a social activity. You, for most card games at least, you have to play with somebody else. And ideally, both of your experiences are going to be better if you have a good relationship with the people you're playing with, right? I think we can all agree on that. If you both like each other and you're both good friends and all that jazz, your games are going to go better. But this doesn't just extend to the gameplay aspect, nor does it extend to like the collectibles aspect, you know, how trading can be easier with someone you know. This also extends to the purely business aspect of it when it comes to dealing with various local game stores and the customers for those local game stores, as well as between stores and the relationship a store can have with its LGS. You see, this conversation was spurred on by one of the guys over on Discord talking about a completely unrelated subject that just so happened to have me thinking about the importance of relationships. Because, yeah, when you are a game store, when you are putting yourself out there, it's important. It's absolutely important, I think, to have some dedicated time to organizing your inventory, doing a bit of market research, trying your best to figure out as much about the games you're stocking as you can. But I also think it's very important as a store that you try to cultivate a good local game scene and a good experience with your local customers, because especially if you're like a brick and mortar store, a small mom and pop shop, or even if you've made it and you've gotten several stores across different locations, different cities, regardless of where you are, I do firmly believe that building a good reputation and a good rapport with your community is just in everyone's best interest, because happy customers are less likely to become customers somewhere else, right? It is, after all, one big competition. There's thousands of game stores across America, and while not everybody has access to loads and loads of game stores, I do tend to find that for a lot of people, they will go the extra mile to go to a game store that they like, rather than deal with one that's closer that they might not necessarily enjoy. I can say from personal experience that it is generally easier just to go out of your way to a place you enjoy playing at. Now, whether it's because the people there are nicer to you or the owner there is nicer to you, of course, there's going to be various reasons. But as the owner of a store, it is your job, I would almost say, to endear yourself to the people who come in and buy and all that jazz at your store. And it's important, I think, to understand that, yeah, there's a lot of things you can focus on. You are a business, you want to make money and all that jazz. And I'm not telling you not to make money. I'm not telling you not to, you know, be firm with your price or anything. But I am saying, you know, be friendly to your customers, be nice, be knowledgeable, be informative. And remember that friendliness is almost, if not more important to business than knowledge of business basics, right? And there's obviously this is not going to be an entire breakdown. This is not going to be a how to be a good person breakdown video. That's just not what I'm here to do. This is just a reminder, more or less, that the relationships you cultivate are going to be very important from a business standpoint and from a I suppose a fan standpoint. You know, as a business, yeah, you got to play nice with your customers, obviously. Try to know the local people. Try to know the regulars, what they like, what they might be looking for, etc. That'll help you out a lot in the long term if you have a pretty good idea of what a regular at your store is looking for. For instance, like if you have a bunch of Magic fans who come into your store on a weekly basis, and you know that they're all Commander players, and you know that one of them is really, really into Ninja Tribal, well, then you might be able to keep a good eye out on new cards as they come out. Hey, this guy over here, he really likes Ninja cards. Here's a new Ninja card he might like. Or this guy over here is really into dragons. He might like this dragon card. So you put him in the showcase, and these guys will come in weekly and say, hey, do you have any new Ninja cards? Do you have any new dragon cards? And you get the point right in your showcase and go, yeah, I've got them right for you, right there, boom. But it also goes, of course, backwards, not just front-facing with your customers, but also backwards with your distributors. You know, this has been said not just on this channel, but on loads of other channels have had experience with distribution. The better your relationship with your representative at distribution, then the easier time you're going to have actually getting the products you want. You know, treat your representative with kindness. Don't be rude to them. You know, play nice, play fair. You know, just remember that they're people too, and you can't just be a jerk to your distribution. The guy who's contacting you from distro, maybe, you know, something goes wrong and you don't get the order you wanted. Well, you can't just be a jerk to the guy who's working with you. You know, they're not fully in control of everything over there. I know it's easy to blame them for things that don't go right if you don't get the cases and cases you ordered of, I don't know, One Piece Heroines collection, right? You really wanted 6 cases of that, you got 4 boxes total. Mouthing off at the distro representative isn't going to make the situation better. In fact, it's going to make them less likely to want to help you out in the future, knowing that you're a jerk to them. So, you know, just play nice, be friendly, be sociable. Because a lot of success in life, especially when it comes to business, is just how fun you are to be around. You know, being knowledgeable and being a crack shop businessman is all nice and well and good, but if no one wants to hang out with you, and if no one wants to come to your store, and if no one wants to do business with you because you're a jerk, then they're just not gonna. The same is also true from the player's perspective. You know, moving away from the store perspective, as a player, becoming familiar with the other guys in your area. Obviously, if you're a nicer guy to hang out with, if you're a swell dude, if you take your losses in stride and you aren't a jerk when you win, more people are obviously going to want to play with you, and that's just how it is. If you, you know, I know it can seem really silly, but just something as simple as saying hi to other people that you see on a regular basis, asking them how they've been, and, you know, asking what they've been playing lately. That kind of simple stuff can really go a long way towards not just making new friends, but keeping people around you more interested in wanting to play games with you, which is all I think we can all agree is something most of us want to do. We all want to play games. That's why we engage with TCGs and hobbies and video games and such like that, because, you know, it's fun and we want to enjoy our time. And of course, building a good relationship with your local game stores, if they are game stores that are, you know, fun and friendly and nice to be at, building that relationship can be nice. Because just like how game stores are more likely to get the deals and the products they want from distribution if they play nice and they're fun and good people all around, you're more likely to get nice deals from your local store if you, yeah, obviously if you're a big spender, they're more likely to pay attention to you. But if you're just a nice enough guy and you go in and you aren't a jerk, you don't break the rules, you don't act like an absolute clown at game night and cause a mess and make them cause a ruckus and all that jazz, there's a lot to it. And I know it can seem so simple, but just being a friendly person, just being a nice person, it can seem really hard. But remember, it's the basics of attitude and how approachable you seem. You know, if you go into your local game store with an absolute grumpy outlook and you're just rude to the people behind the counter and you're a jerk wand to the people you play with at tournaments, well, then how likely is it that they're going to want to play with you again in the future? You know, just keep that in mind. I know it sounds super simple, but relationships are massively important. Like I said before, card games are a social hobby. And like it or not, the people who are in this hobby with you, as long as they're not being jerks too, obviously, I always strongly encourage people to be friendly towards anyone really playing in the same space. But obviously, this doesn't extend to being this isn't me telling you to be like a doormat. If someone's being a jerk to you, you don't have to bend over and take it. If someone's being an asshole to you at the game store for no reason, this is under the condition that you haven't actually done anything wrong at this point. If someone's being a jerk to you, then obviously you can tell them to get fucked and eat shit and all that jazz. But, do go out of your way to be earnest, friendly, and approachable, and you'll find, in my experience, that is a very loud truck. You'll find in my experience that just being nice and approachable will go a long way towards making friends that you enjoy playing with. And that's really what we all want to do, right? So, I don't know. Simple video. At the end of the day, just, be friendly, be nice. How hard could it possibly be? But yeah, that's all I got for you kiddos today. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you agree with me, disagree with me, or want to catch the license plate on that truck that zipped by just a bit ago. Check out the Discord and the Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ciao.